Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Pedro here. It is an amazing Sunday afternoon. The sun is out in all of its glory. I'm out here in North Vancouver, beautiful British Columbia, and I'm going to bring to you a very, very powerful message that will help you achieve a high level of happiness, help you achieve a higher level of mental health, and with this, it will also help you achieve a high level of success in your life, in whatever way you define success. I want to be talking to you about how to eliminate anxiety. So my invitation to you is to sit back, get a pen and paper, perhaps get some tea. I'm sipping on some Kenyan black tea. I'm from Kenya, so I gotta keep it 100. I want to talk to you about how to eliminate anxiety. I want you to understand that you live in a overstimulated society. You live in an overstimulated society. And unless you're very, very conscious about this, there's a good chance that you have an overstimulated nervous system, right? An overstimulated nervous system. And what do you mean by an overstimulated society, Pedro? What do you mean by an overstimulated nervous system? The way the society has been designed, it has been designed in such a way that unless you are very, very conscious, you will notice that you spend a majority of your time focused on what's going on in the outside world. Therefore, your senses, your sense of vision, hearing, nose, taste, touch, is very, very focused on what's happening in the external realm. So external realm could have to do with your career, right? So you're always working, and there's nothing wrong with always working, but you got to know when to stop. Always working, always pursuing success. Nothing wrong with success. You just got to know the true source of success, which I'm going to share with you. Maybe you're always engaged in social media, right? On Facebook, on Instagram. Voyeurism, always looking at what's happening. Or maybe you're always engaged in the news. You focus on what's in the news, or you focus on what's on radio. Or maybe you're always engaged in escapism activities, right? Partying, having a good time, drinking, going out, always socializing, always being with people. If you are always focused on what's going on in the external world and your energy is always going outward, then what happens is that your nervous system becomes overstimulated, right? It becomes overstimulated because it's like always going. Your brain is always processing a lot of information, right? It's processing a lot of information, and what happens is that when your nervous system is overstimulated, you begin to experience a high level of anxiety. And in this video, I'm talking about specifically mental anxiety, right? Mental anxiety. So yesterday, I decided to go all the way down to a place called Lonsdale Quay Market, the shipyards. It's in the lower part of North Vancouver. So where I live right now is kind of heading up into the deeper parts of North Vancouver. If you look behind me, you know, there's a forest right there, and I can easily just jump into the forest. There's a lot of forest in this neighborhood. Anyway, I went down there, and for some reason, you know, now everybody's out, right? To hell with COVID, everybody's out, and it was very, very busy. People drinking, people smoking, people doing marijuana, people eating ice cream, people just excited. And momentarily, you know, it was exciting to be around that energy. But when I was walking back home, you know, I live, it's a 40-minute walk. I like to walk. It's a 40-minute walk from the Lonsdale Quay Market area to where I am. The higher I came up into my neighborhood, the more quiet it was, and the more the energy was a little bit more chill. So when I got home, I was doing some yoga, and I noticed that it was hard for me to get into my yoga because my nervous system had been super stimulated by all that was going on around me. And that really pointed to me that it's very, very easy for me personally to experience anxiety unless I put checks and balances to it, right? I like to work, I like to work a lot. I like to focus on my business. I like to focus on personal growth and development. So a lot of times I'm spending a lot of energy, learning, developing myself, making business moves. So I'm also externally focused. But I've discovered one thing that's very important. I've discovered that my ability to stay cool, calm, poised, and collected is actually the true source of success in business, but also mental health, right? And also just remaining, how do I describe this? Success, mental health, and happiness, right? Is when I find ways to really, really keep my anxiety at a very, very low level. So I put checks and balances in place. And what do you mean by checks and balances in place, Pedro? Every single morning when I get up, and also at the end of the day, I slow down my nervous system. For me personally, I do yoga, right? So I do restorative yoga, or I do a form of yin yoga in the morning. And that's a time when I'm not focused on what's happening in the external world. I'm focusing on what's happening in my internal world. You know what I'm saying? So this is a ritual that I have. Throughout the course of the day, I take time to actually stop focusing on the outside world and focus on the inside world. Like I shared with you, there's a forest that's close to me over here. So sometime during the course of the day, I'm going to go into the forest, and then I'm going to be drawn inward, right? Sometime during the day, I'm going to go for a walk in a beautiful park that's in the area. And when I'm going through that walk, I'm focused on what's going on inside of me. I'm connecting to the universe, right? So I want you to understand that it's very, very easy to lose sight of what is really, really important. And what is really, really important is your inner, true, authentic happiness, right? And if you haven't developed a true sense of inner happiness, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to develop a high level of health and a high level of success in the world. And one of the biggest barriers to you developing an inner sense of true happiness is this thing that we call anxiety. So to discover if you have anxiety, I want you to notice, number one, if you can comfortably sit down with yourself for 10 or 15 minutes without being agitated, right? If you cannot sit down with yourself for 10 or 15 minutes and you gotta do something, it just means that you have a high level of anxiety. I want you to look if you're using a lot of stimulants to calm yourself down, right? A lot of people drink alcohol, right? Alcohol is not good for you at all. It's not good for you at all. There's no reason why you should have a single glass of alcohol. You can tell me, yeah, it's for socializing, but no, it's covering something else. It's covering your ability to not be comfortable with yourself without alcohol. So it's covering up anxiety. Maybe you're smoking cigarettes, maybe you're smoking marijuana, right? Maybe you're engaging in a lot of sex. There's nothing wrong with sex. I love sex. I'm just saying, you got to use it wisely, right? Some people use sex because they want to calm down. They want to reduce anxiety, right? Guys just want to have sex because they want to let off so they can feel chill, right? Women too use sex so they can relax. So the subject of anxiety is very, very important. I want you to become conscious, right? Become conscious throughout the course of the day. Become conscious and notice when you're losing touch with your inner core, with your inner being, when you so much focus on what's going on in the outside world that you lose your true core. You lose your connection to your true core. And anytime that you notice that you're losing connection to your true core, I want you to stop. And I want you to do something that's going to take you inwards, right? Whether it's yoga, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's just lying down and chilling and connecting in the inside world. Eliminate anxiety. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like this kind of information, I share a lot of videos like this on my platform, the Alpha Success Network. It is on all social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Follow the page. Stay tuned because I'm going to continue sharing information like this to really help you achieve a high level of happiness, health, and success. Have yourself an amazing day.